Hello. In relation to their means to show more World Trade Center roles with hundreds of nations, how they use it, how they have a method that keeps everyone knaves, where we have the only peaceful counters to all that too, the identity of negative value nature progression that humanity has been in since semi-ancient times, since before modern religion's messengers. Thank God for them, for example, because they help preserve criminally re-engineered and to be forced out, already revealed ancient republics revelations and system that was revealed by the species working together, understanding that and how the sounds of the languages have identity of relationship to themselves that was revealed before criminally foreign influence sciences here and there, self-valued criminally foreign influence, legalized criminally foreign influence. They have this, they engineered all that, were victims forced to react to all that stays negative value nature progressions acts and natures with this blamed on other things other than themselves, and then that defended, that was engineered with no one watching. That was sophistication here and there, modern nations before our founding parents were even born. It's an identity organized crime method worse than organized crime, very simple. It's only getting more and more extensive because they are preventing sequence shifts from being demonstrated. They are preventing mandated law. They are simultaneously reliant on the opinions of people associated with all the motion picture companies. For example, all the networks. For example, in relationship to the two treatments of theater, their treatments of their opinions in relationship to what people post and what that reveals. The way to see this, you have to follow mandated law in relationship to their sequence shifts and uses of them recorded how self-valued inside and outside of the Ninth Circuit, right next to the World Trade Center attack, leading up to it and right before it. Approving post-dated documents had been insidiously post-dated from inside the Ninth Circuit to appear late to the panel of judges right before the World Trade Center attack was hit and the towers were hit and taken down, out, with all those people taken out in a sick way. And so so that forced a reaction, only capable in this still already since before that, forced individually grouped and together, hundreds of nations, time and positions, treatments of positive as criminal ceases nature, legalized but criminally legalized, specifically just for that. All counters contained, all that self-value that contained. That inside, what is inseparable from that is the integrity of two other identities of sequence nature per science actual. See, we have to have free speech. Otherwise, people just keep using criminally foreign influence sciences, identity grounds abridged. Abridged sciences in relationship to jobs off campuses as victims, only capable of perceiving or fathoming that being the function of the campuses of the republic for which we stand, ancient. There are proofs that yin yang goes right inside capital law, which is drawn, the capital letters are drawn to show the invisible but clear, which evolution comes from understanding its identity of relationship to itself. Aside the scientific value as the identity of value progression that is scientifically observable, each finite individual identity of value progression grouped and all together like species, individual, grouped, sexes, not just sexes, ages, areas, grouped to show also with simultaneously while we are the bonded identity of the species. This is how and with the rest of space nature with no criminal foreign influences, no. We're only one species to have had such for so long. Self-valued, tactically, criminally denatured identity ground relationships, identity of quality of fact treatment nature, relationship to zoning laws, resources, means to repair those resources, all stuck. Worse than semi-unsafe, worse than breaching method employed, invested. Defenses of fact treatment nature styles, qualities of fact treatment nature can't help but value the database's racketeering acts, roles, and acts, and methods, self-value of others. So they also have like the sequence shifts also reveal they're making determinations pretending that each branch of government is pretending they have the integrity to make decisions they know they don't because they're recorded preventing mandated law and they're lying about what is actually recorded online, actual sequence. They're relying about what is actually recorded in courts, uses of in court. So in other words, papers were it was later proven, and this led up to a case, part of a case slash S that was ongoing at the time of my father's death. Has does has nothing to do with it, but it has phenomenon of them having attached me to fake conversations about that for and with doctors involved with untimely deaths on and off campuses with the same ones they used as victim predators since I was a kid for this, attaching me to fake locations, fake conversations with them, people in my area, people tied to them. Further involved with former director of the FBI's co-defendants, former director of the FBI Robert Luskin, former standing chairperson on Racketeering Influence and Corrupt Organization Act. These are also people recorded involved with how recorded actually overt criminal enterprises, private ones, and interbranch, all tied to them like prison stewardships on off the state judicial branch offices, on off the state prison offices, on off Weathersfield Police Department. They are recorded involved with predicate acts, methods, and roles, uses of their identity, the ground locations themselves, and of every location, area, and state and person as victims, but as victim predators already invested, incapable of standing mandated law and or truth and science in the same things. The sciences share an identity, and it is so they're forcing everyone to make overall convictions so they can hide how they have prevented mandated law by preventing the people. First, they're preventing in a sustained way people from countering sequence shifts and database racketeering acts that this is where wire crimes, mail crimes, illusions, no. Our roles with overt criminal enterprises, interbranch also in conjunction with them, criminal uses of the identity of ground, body dumping spots of a serial killer. Real or made up, that person's involved, recorded with courts and with programs on and off Central Connecticut State University, intercities involved with crimes with child campuses, with houses next to them, with WFSB, with locations next to WFSB, with what they call the intelligence community, with interbranch police and their family members and military, foreign and domestic, in collusion, kept fake sides, needed to count, need where it's real, just to keep hundreds of nations exploiting this identity, the ground location, all value stream, but like all routes, roads, end of highways, end of town line road, involved with all kinds of people with Trinity College and with UConn and with CCSU, used as victims, but with individuals that use them as victim predators. And that's recorded, but they're preventing mandated law, falsifying police reports, human trafficking acts, roles, sexual abuses of each age of fact sheet nature associated with A detective Samuda who pretended he was arresting officer of me, switching identities with a officer Magnanos, with a whole bunch of foreign and domestic police forms involved already with legal treatments with various natures of courts, their family members, prosecutors, their family members. They keep them all victim predators. Investing needed to hide roles where the evil and the lipoaggressions from it are things like wire crimes, uses of identities of AT&T to keep effectively recorded, used criminally through criminally foreign influence, effectively maintain self-valued criminally foreign influence identity, the ground locations like the New Haven FBI, Yale University, victims, well, victim predators, like for example, per they're just going to lead to the hierarchy of titles that are involved with criminal readings of statutes originally still simultaneously delusions raw and criminally foreign influence, offensively pejorative, offensively preventing people free speech and attaching people to fake words in conjunction with that, which keeps that the outcome because they have per the racketeering worse than organized crime method uses of databases and of sequence shifts and of live progressions from that where they involve the kids with themselves with falsified police reports, uses of interbranch databases, simultaneously intercampuses databases, simultaneously uses of overt criminal enterprises, all that private tied to them, like prisons, like undercover, uses of their identity this way. You know, if they stop doing that for fact treatment nature wise, hundreds of nations already sick, fake, positive here and there, and we're the only peaceful counters to that which was obligated to have been overcome by science, that those are in collusion with things like war, things like all that really to the elements associated with hospitals, policing agreements where we have private, originally still criminally foreign influence, hundreds of nations unequally, for example, especially with psychology. And with the sequence racketeering, because the courts can pretend to perceive things further and further while they have, that's why they prevent mandated law, while their roles with forging names, switching names. There's a Leahy family involved with them, with crime rules, with untimely deaths, on off, legal and illegal body dumping spots. People at the end of the Berlin Turnpike recorded involved with identity thefts, with those three spots against me, as the people further involved with the child campuses, further involved with the principal sex offenders campus then and now, and as the people that with the courts involved with this, male and female judges, male and female prosecutors, male and female states attorneys, male and female jobs with the identity of the ground locations of each court, like dozens of people in New Britain Superior Court since I was a kid. They were involved with a whole bunch of recorded then and now, like a Joshua Julian, then and now, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated he's involved with other natures of predicate acts, also by people tied to him. And he's involved with human trafficking. For example, that WFSB is recorded crime acts with. Lying, pretending I said words I never did to them and to other people. Pretended I was in locations where I never was. Pretended me and other kids to fake relationships to doctors as kids, as people involved with uses of Trinity College and of CCSU remotely for election crimes that were also roles with untimely deaths used for other natures of organized crime acts, and roles with the same ones with my new and past neighbors, with the federal criminal code defendants of Robert Luskin, involved with the databases with the schools I went to. That doesn't mean, and they take people. It's fact cheating wise sounds like you know someone because they live down the street from you. You ever saw them? So they have, these are people involved where they have effectively they originally and still overtly, simultaneously and insidiously. You have to watch which simultaneously. not just what is overt. See, where they use things like prejudice, because they have the identities of law as fake care, as fake aggression, righteous roles, originally still more and more to each location with the breaching method that was only allowed to be this pathology. It's only capable of being fathomed. So what we have to do is simply to admit this. And we have to have you have to follow mandated law. And fortunately, I could demonstrate to you how many people associated with a DeMoro family and are recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with an O'Brien family and a Cololo family, with Central Connecticut State University involved with forensics locations, and with legal body dumping spots, and with criminal body dumping spots, and with life progressions tied to the roles, also with prison people, with intercities, with the roles with child abuses, also with foreign and domestic military on and off religious spots, roles with gun dealerships, the policing of areas like that, defenses of it, further and further, each location used by each identity of the ground, sickly, kept this CCSU was recorded, confessed, demonstrated, involved with what recorded keeps the stewards of the prisons and their family members, with the stewards of the various natures of courts and their family members, and military leading up to the World Trade Center attack context, and in interstates, first intercities, Worcester and interstates, criminally foreign influence. So we'll come back to this.